Today, as I told in the last session also, today we will having a hands-on experiment on Geoserver, WMS, WFS, WCS and other Geo web services. So today I don't have any PPTs, so directly we will work on how to work on Geoserver. So our focus will be on what are the methods or how we can install Geoserver. Earlier I told you in this diagram, if you see it here, the basic diagram we will follow. Okay, so you have the different clients are there, and the clients are making the request. The request through firewall, it goes to the web server, and from web server it goes to a application server. That was very much clear now. Okay, so what are these application server? GIS server is one of our application server. Okay, now today we will be seeing the complete flow, how you can make a request, how to install a web server, and then how to install a application server on top of this web server. Database also, if time permits, we will cover up this data set also. Okay, suppose my GIS data is lying on a PostGIS database management system. Then how to fetch the data from there, or how to fetch the data from this database server to my GIS server also. That can also be done. You can take the data from your database also into your map server or your GIS server. Okay, so this complete flow we will see it. Okay, a client making a request to the web server passing it to the GIS server, it is processing the request and then giving it back to the client. But how to do the complete flow, how to install the various component of this particular architecture, that will be the focus of our today's session. So let us quickly go directly. So the first step, we want one web server to be installed. So how to install this? Since we are going for this Geoserver, now as I told in the previous class also, that Geoserver is a Java-based application server. So we need a web server which supports this Java applications as well. So one of the web server which supports Java-based application is Tomcat. So what we will do, we will try to install Tomcat in my computer. So how to install that Apache Tomcat in the computer? So what you have to do, you have to simply download it from the internet. Let us go here. I will increase the size also over here. It is, let us say, Tomcat download. So this is Tomcat is the name of a web server basically, which is required for your Apache for this Geoserver. There are basically two requirements for this Geoserver. First is the Tomcat, and Tomcat in itself requires the Java environment. So your computer should have Java also installed in the computer, and there should be one environment variable by the name Java_home that need to be defined. Okay, so let us first download this Apache Tomcat. So this is the folder. If this is the URL, if you see it here, click it here, and you can directly download it as a zip file. You can download as an installer also, because this zip file download means you need to do some configuration changes in the file, whereas this installer, it will provide you those configuration changes. Suppose you want at which port you want to install it, what is the username and password for the web manager. So all these are available in this installer. So you click it and it will install it, and it will give you various options to set these configuration settings. Whereas in case of zip, you have to download it, and then there are certain files like server.config or server.xml, web.xml. There you have to make those changes manually. So what I have done here, I have already downloaded a zip file. Okay, so what we will do, let us take the default settings. Okay, later on we can go for those also. So what I have done, I have downloaded this zip file for already I have downloaded it over here. If you see it in the D drive, this Apache Tomcat 9.0.48 Windows 64. It can be any. So since my computer is a Windows based, so I have taken the Windows based setup over here. So if you see it here, this is downloaded over here. So what I can do, you have to do just right click here and extract it in any directory, C drive or D drive, wherever you want to extract it, you can extract it. I have already extracted it here. If you see, this is the folder that is created. Now this folder becomes my web server application, web server only. Okay, I have unzipped this file over here by the name of this folder. Double click over here. So you see it here, Apache, Tomcat, and there are certain files also here. So bin, config, lib, logs, temp, web apps, work, and many files are there. So this config file. Now inside this file, you have a server.xml. Here you can make certain changes. Tomcat-users. Here you can create new users also, or user roles can be defined. So all these settings can be done inside this web server. So for the time being, we are taking the default settings. Okay. So you take default only for the beginners, those who are doing the first time. Don't go into those details. You take the default settings. So web server is now. So once I have unzipped it in D drive, my computer is still not ready as a web server. How to make this computer ready for web server so that it can act as a web server? Okay, so what you have to do, you have to go to this, double click here, this folder. There is one file called bin. Inside bin, I have one executive file called startup. So you have to click this startup file, then your server will start. But before that, since you are doing it for the first time, just check whether Java is installed in your computer or not. How to do that one? That is again very simple step here. Just go to this start button here, type here CMD. So this window will appear for you. Okay. Now here I will just try to increase the font size over here for you so that it is clearly visible. 36. Okay. So this command prompt will be visible to you. Okay. Now here what I can say, Java -version. This is the first command you should type to check whether Java is installed there or not. So if you see it, yes, Java is already installed there. So I need not to download it and install. But if it is not there, then you have to download that Java file. But from where you can download it, let us say DOWN download Java, okay, or JDK. Basically we have to download Java for Windows, and then you can, yes, agree. You have to click it here, agree, and start free, and it will start downloading. Okay, or you can go to other installation instructions also. So once it is downloaded, you can install it just by double clicking. Okay, so downloading the Java and installing is not sufficient. You have to do one more step. That step is setting up a Java_home directory, or the home environment variable you have to set up. So how to do that one? We will just see. Once the Java is installed, let us check that setting also, whether it is installed, it is there or not. So I will just go to this. Let me close this files also here. Okay. No. Now you have to go to this my computer, or this folder over here. Click it here. My PC, this PC. Right click. It can be my computer also. Properties, and then you can go advanced system settings. Then here, so since I am user login, you need to be an administrator login. So once you log in, there is one folder, this one dialog box will open, that is called the system properties. Now here you can check environment variable. In this environment variable, you can see in the system variable, I have one variable by the name Java_home. So where is the path? Program file Java. If you see here, in the C drive, I have program files, then I have Java here installed. So I need only this path. Okay. Double click this Java JDK and copy this path, this entire path from here, Control C, and then you can, suppose it is not there, you have to create it like this, Java_home, you create it and paste that path over here. Okay, this full path you have to paste it here. Then you have to click OK, and then this variable will be visible to you over here. So this variable is very much required for your Apache Tomcat server. Okay, if this variable is not there, your Tomcat server will not work. So this is the basic requirement. So once you have ensured that Java is installed in your computer, Java_home variable is also there in the environment variables. Now let us start our web server. How to start the web server? Again, with some small steps we can download. We can just go to this bin here, double click this, not this bin. We have to go to this Apache. I have installed. We can have Java in different folder or different drive, and Apache Tomcat in different drive. Since we have set up that environment variable, so it will be accessible from any place. So you just go to the folder which we have unzipped over here, double click to this, double click here, bin folder, and once it is clicked over here, then you have to go to the CMD. You can directly go to the command prompt from here. Just type at the address bar, you just type CMD, and you will go to the command prompt over here like this. Properties, I will just increase the font here, 24. So if you see it here, I have directly come to the path also of the same path. D Apache Tomcat 9.0.48 Windows. This was the same folder, the same path. So I am now at this place. Okay. Now here I can type startup. Since startup is one executable file which lies over here. If you see it here, if you click it directly, then also it will install. But this file I need to execute. So why I am executing it from here? So that I can see if any error is coming to this. Okay, so you click startup, and your Tomcat server will start. It will show all what is going on behind the server, and it will show you over here all the settings. If any error is there, then that error will be displayed at this place itself. Okay, so once it is done, it is still starting. Some setting it is going to do it. So our last one message will come. Server started in this much time. So that you have to wait for that time. Till that time, the server is not started. Till that message comes, it is not started. So yes, it is coming up here, and it is doing some other settings also there. So at the end, that message will come for you. Okay, so this is your, still some settings are going on, so it will take some time. You can wait for that. You can see this is the Tomcat over here. So what we can do, apart from starting it from here, we can create a service also. A Windows service can be created. So that creation of the service is also very simple. So whenever your computer starts, you can schedule that the service starts automatically. So I can set here service. That one command is there, service, service, install, install, and only this much command, and it will install the service in your operating system. So I am not doing it. Let me check whether my Apache Tomcat is started or not. Yes, if you can see it here, the last message at this date, 28 June, at this time, this is started. Server startup in 7103 milliseconds. So your server is started now. So this computer has become a web server now. Okay, so that's the simple step. Now how to check it whether it is a web server or not? What you can do? So there is a default IP for all the computers. What is the default IP? You can check it by localhost :8080. This is a port now. This is the name of your computer localhost, and 8080 is one software port in which the web server is running. Because a request can enter into my computer through this port only. It is not like my computer is fully open for the public. It is open through certain settings only, or through certain ports only. These ports allows them to enter into the computer, make the request, and the responses are sent back to them through these ports only. So this is also becomes very important. I have to make my computer open for certain types of ports only. By default, many ports are open, so you have to check up which all ports are open for which application. So that is a very important security step that need to be checked up. So once this localhost is there, I will since my web server is there, it is now installed. Double click, just click it over here. So if this page comes, it means your server has started. This is your default web server page. Okay, we can change it also. This is nothing but an index.html file. This file can be changed. You can see it here. This is the file which lies here. Apache Tomcat here, and then web apps one folder is there, then root. So this is that file, index.jsp. So this is the file which is opening up over here. So this file can be changed also. You can have your own home page. Sometimes you have your organization's home page also. That page will also come up. Okay, that can be done. Now, so this now it is known that my computer is working. It is now in the intranet or the internet domain from where the clients can make a request to my page, and this web server will listen to all those things. Now, how to know that whether computer is listening or not? So what you can do, instead of this local host, we can also type a IP address, because each and every computer has one IP address. So let us try to find it out. What is the IP address of this computer? IP config. If you type it here, so it will say yes, 192.168.17.47 is the IP address of this computer. Copy it here. Let us try, instead of the name localhost, I will just type it by IP address, localhost 8080. Then also the same page will come. So it means my website or my computer is now a web server which can be accessed by the client by this IP address or by a domain name also. If I assign one name to it, we can assign some name to it, because if you see it here, all the domains like google.com, IIRS.com, they all have an IP behind them. So it becomes difficult to remember those IPs. That's why a name is given to all those IPs, and these names are registered somewhere in the internet domain also. That is called DNS, domain name services. So there these names are registered also. That is a separate issue. But when you are working in a local environment, you can work with localhost also. You do all your testing, web server application development, all at this place only. And then when you are going to the production mode, at that time, the team which looks after those web configuration aspect, they will do the remaining part of it. So for the development purpose, you have to know something about it also. Okay, so you know now web server is working. So if you go to our diagram, so this part is now done. This firewall and all those things, they are a separate issue. They are looked after by the web team also. Okay, so now my web server is ready. Now what I need to make a request also. Okay, so let us try one small example I will give you how to make a request now to this web server so that it can be accessed by the client. So for the request purpose, let us make one small HTML file. I will make a small HTML file. That is the most basic request which is given by the client. A client can give a smallest request, that is an HTML page request. Okay, so let us try to make one HTML page and see how that is accessed. How to make an HTML page. One session was already covered in the second day, how to create an HTML file, JavaScript. So I will take one file from that session only. Let us say we can create it anywhere. Let Notepad also, I can create the file here, one HTML file. So I will just increase the font also here so that it is visible to you. Let me make it bold. So okay, so the first HTML file, HTML. If I write it here, HTML, and then I will say this is title. Title is the title of the address of that page. TITLE. Title we can give here. Title I can write it here. This is my first web server request page. This is my first web server request page. This can be created. Okay, so and just for the testing purpose we are doing it. This is your title. or we can say, I will not make it so much big. Web server request page we can make it. Okay, we have to make it very as short as possible, because this is only the title, not the entire content. You close this title once it is closed, and then we can have one body section, BODY, body section here. Then here I can write anything, like we can have many styles also we can put here, but I am writing, this is my first attempt for web server testing, TESTING, for web server testing. You close this P here, and then we can make it bold also. In HTML, in Notepad it is looking bold, but for making it specifically bold, you have to put it like this way. B, you have to give some command also, which your browser will understand. Okay, then you have to close this B also, or we can increase the size also of this page. Let us make it heading 1, H1, and we can close this H1 here as well, /H1. So it is closed. We are just making a test page for web server. Okay, and you have just click it here, and then you close this body section tag over here. Similarly, we can close this HTML tag over here. Okay, now this file is created as a test page. File, save as, where we will save it here now. This is very important point here now. You have to save this file in your web server public folder. Now, which is my web server public folder? You go to this Apache here, double click here, web apps. So different servers have different public folder. So for Tomcat, we have this web apps folder as a public folder. Now here what we can do, I can create one more folder. Okay, let us say WebGIS folder I am creating over here. And then inside this WebGIS, I can have the name of my file, FIRST, first test, let us say .html, first test.html. So let us say save it. Now your HTML file is created. So one thing is there, you can now see where is that file there, Apache Tomcat web apps. This is your WebGIS folder. This is your first test.html file. You double click it, it will open. This is my first attempt for web server and web server request page. But this page is only an HTML. Your browser has executed it. Okay, your web server has not executed it. So what to do that one? So if a client, let us say this is my client here, he is writing the IP address there 192.168.17.47.80.80. Then what he has to do? He has to type the full address of that page, /WebGIS/FIRST first test.html, and then enter. So now if you see it here, the request is coming from the server. Okay, this browser is the client. This client has made a request to this particular web server, this from this browser. The same computer is acting as a server also, and it is acting as a client also for me. But this can be from other computers also. If they are in the same LAN, so we can do it from there also. Since I have only one computer right now, so I have used this the browser as a, now if you see it here, Control C, let us open it in some new window, new incognito window here. You type it here again, it will come like this here. Okay, so your browser has made a request to the server, and server has given it the response in the form of this HTML page. So now it is tested, the web server is now working. Now our task is not end over here. Our task was to set up the Geoserver or the GIS server, one application server I want to set up now. So our application server is Geoserver. So what you have to do? You have to download Geoserver from internet. So let us now try to download Geoserver. Okay, download Geoserver. So this is your folder here. This is the first. Now here, stable version you can take. Okay, download a stable version, or we can just click it here, 2.19.1. Now it will show you many options over here: packages, documentation, source code, extensions. There are many extensions also to your Geoserver, like MySQL extension is also there, cartography, miscellaneous. If you see it here, processing also, netcdf file, or services, WPS services, CSW services. So there are many extensions to your Geoserver. What I have to download from here now? You see it here. There is one folder called Web Archive. Click on this Web Archive and download it. So it will start downloading the Geoserver for you. So I have already downloaded Geoserver. So let us see where is that Geoserver. So if you see it here in the downloads folder, I have Geoserver also. Geoserver downloaded. I will just check it over here. D drive. I think I have kept it here only. In the web apps folder. This web apps folder I told you, na? This was the public folder. Now in this web apps folder, if you see it here, double click here. Now here, that geoserver.war file I have copied over here. If you see, once you download it, it will download many files for you. Okay, what you have to do, you have to unzip it, and after unzipping, you have to copy this geoserver.war file. There are many files inside that folder. So you have to take only this geoserver.war file from there and just copy it inside your web apps folder. So once it is copied in the web apps folder, this application server will be deployed in your web server. So it is done. Once you do it, you will see that you will have another folder created for you over here by this name Geoserver. I had only copied Geoserver over here, but I got one folder also here. How it has come? Because your web server was running here directly. It was continuously running. Now, so it was able to find out that there is one application which has been copied in the public folder. What it has done, it has executed that war file and deployed Geoserver in the web server environment. Okay, I will again do it. Let us close it here. Then I will see it here. We will say here stops. Okay, SHUTDOWN, shut down. So your web service is now down. Okay, now what I will do now, again let us try to start it here, because now we have made this Geoserver also available to my web server. Two things are there, web server and Geoserver. Remember it, both are different things. So again you go here this place and then START startup. You see it here, Apache Tomcat. I am inside this folder where my web server has been installed. I say startup. So what it will do, it will start installing. Now if you see it here at the bottom, I have one setting called web apps geoserver.var. What it is doing actually, it is starting this application server also inside my web server. Okay, now we will see it here. It has started here. All the settings are going on. So if you see it here, once that line comes, the server started. First time it take time, but second time you start it, it will do it quickly. Now still it is going on. All these are the Geoserver settings. Geoserver.config. You can check it also over here. 18 bindable process in the raster. Or now if you see it here, 42895 milliseconds, your server has started. So server was already started earlier also, but how to check now whether the Geoserver is installed there or not? That is also very simple here. If you see it here, we have given that localhost 8080. This was your web server. Now let us check it here whether Geoserver is there or not. So remember here I am typing directly Geoserver. For running that file, HTML file, na, I had kept one HTML file inside this Geoserver folder, WebGIS folder I have created. Inside this I have created this first file, but your Geoserver is outside in the root folder itself. In this web apps, you have your Geoserver copied. Don't copy this Geoserver inside any application folder. Okay, any application. Suppose WebGIS is one my testing application. So I have not copied this inside this one. I have copied it outside only. So now you check it here. You just type here Geoserver. So it will show a page Geoserver. So your application is also now started. It is also working. Now by default, nothing will come over here. Okay, only layer preview. Some you can check it up here, layer preview. So it will show there are already some data set is already installed here. Already some data set has been deployed or they have been published as a web service. So, but I don't see my data set over here. I want to check, I want to publish my own data set over here. So how to do that one? First of all, you have to log in here. So the default username and password for Geoserver is admin is the username and password is Geoserver. This is the default username and password. Of course, you should change it later on. Okay, when you put it in your production mode, then you have to change it to the appropriate usernames and appropriate passwords as well. Now, let us see it here. It is done, Geoserver, and then login. So once you log in, you get many settings over here. Layer preview, workspace, stores, layers, layer group, styles, many things. WMST, WCS, WFS, WMS, WPS, all the things are over here. Authentications also here. User group, password. So you can change the password from here. Or you can create some new users also over here. So these all are possible over here. So I will work with the default admin username only for the time being. Okay. So now we have checked it. Web server is done. So these two parts. If you see it here in our PowerPoint presentation, our web server is now installed. We have created one HTML page. So this web server is receiving the request from the clients also, and it is serving them the response also as an HTML page now. Now my request is a map service. I want a map to be fetched from this web application. Now this web server cannot understand that map request. That map request has to come from a application server, for example, GIS server or the map server. In our case, we have Geoserver as this GIS server. Okay, so our GIS server or the geospatial server is Geoserver right now. So what we will do, we will put some data inside this Geoserver and try to make a request from the client and see what happens to it. How to make those requests? Map requests is typical kind of request. Okay, so we will see that also. Now let us try to create, let us see if any data we have with us. We should have some data with us for publishing. Simply we cannot keep on doing like this. Let me see. Yes, some days back we have downloaded some data also over here. If I have some data, then list 3 data is there. Yes, many list 3 data sets is there. So vector. Okay. So what we will do? Let us try to create one data set. Okay. We will have one small data set for us. Let us say list 3 data I am having with me over here. So these are the data set over here, list 3. So better than that, I will take some data set from internet. Okay. And we will take it as we will try to publish that data set over here. So you will learn another aspect of it, how to create that data also. Let us go to this Bhuvan Geoserver. Bhuvan.nrsc.gov.in. We can download many kinds of data set from over here. Now, if you see the Open Data Archive, just click it here. Let us go to one sensor data, list 3 data. Okay, this is your 23.5 meter spatial resolution satellite data. So I will do the data set of, let us say, Dehradun city, HRADUN, Dehradun. Okay, so there are certain steps also which you should remember. Dehradun city, it will find some city for me over here. Dehradun, and it will search that one also. Or we can go directly to this place also here if I am aware of the place of the city. Now, where is the city actually? That can, sometimes it takes the time, otherwise we can directly zoom to that place also. So yeah, it has already searched something. So Dehradun, Uttarakhand. So this is the red dot, it has put it over here. So now this is your Dehradun city. Now if you see it here, your data set is lying in 2 tiles actually. Basically there is one tile and this is other tile. Some of the city part is going here also. So I will take only one part here, this one. Okay, one single, or we can take both the tiles also. So how to do that one? Interactive drawing, and you can create it here, start, and this tile is selected. So before downloading you have to log in also. So we will do the login also here. What we are doing, we are creating one data set for us. if you have the data, ready-made data with you, then you can do it directly also. So I was just trying to show you the data set which is available in the internet over here. From downloaded here, and then I will say next here, and then let us take the latest data. This is the 12th March 2019. Just check it here. It has some clouds. I don't want to take it. 2018 data. Yes, this data is fine. I can take this data set. So download this data set. So it will quickly download this particular data set for you. Now try to see it here in your Geoserver. So if I say so in folder here, let us cut it here. I will create one new folder here. Let us say new folder or data I will create. Okay. Then here inside this, let us paste it here and unzip it here. I am extract here. So if you see it here, this is your data set. Now we cannot publish it like this here directly because this is a black and white data. Let us try to view this data in our QGIS server first of all, QGIS software. So QGIS desktop, you try to open the but this is again one open source software which allows you to see the data set in the desktop environment. This QGIS software is also very powerful software. It sometimes allows you to publish the data in the internet also. So Geoserver, we can publish the data from QGIS also. So once the software, now if you see it here, this is band number 2, this is band number 3, band number 4, and band number 5. What are these bands basically? This is your SWIR band, short wave infrared satellite image, the image at that wavelength. This is the NIR, near infrared wavelength. This is your red wavelength and this is your green wavelength. So your data set is available like this. So we are not interested with SWIR. Let us take only these three, red, green, red, and NIR. Okay. If you drag it here to the software directly, it will show some black and white image. Another image you see, this is again a black and white image. Third, NIR. So these three bands have different kinds of brightness levels also. If you see it here like this. First, this was your red, this is your infrared band. And if you see it here, this was your red band, and this is your last one is your green band. So little bit light also. They have their peculiar characteristics, these bands have. So we need to combine them together. So how to combine them together so that we can have a colorful image? Sometimes we call them as a false color composite. So we can do it like this. You can go to the raster here. Or we can have miscellaneous option over here, merge. We can merge three data sets. Let us take it here. This is your band number 2, 3, and 4. Okay. So I will take it like 2, 3, and 4. I will create one false color composite. Okay. This green band we will display by the red color gun. This red band we will display by the green color gun, and this NIR by the red color gun. Okay, this is by blue, red, green, and blue color. These three color guns are there in the computer. So these bands will be used to display the images for accordingly at that time. Okay, suppose I click OK. Now you have to put it here. Put each input file into a separate band. You just click it here, and the output data type of list 3 is usually uninteger 16-bit. You just select that uninteger 16-bit data type it this only for list 3. You can check there also. It will be displaying in the metadata. Here we can just check here what is the data type here. If you click it over here, you will see what is the metadata also. It will show you here what is the data type of this data set. So since I know already, I know that it is an unsigned 16-bit. So that's why I have selected the same thing. Now save to file. Let us save it to some particular file. Let us create D drive here. Then I have one data KP here and then data. Then let us create here list 3. LISS list 3. On this data set is of 2018, November 2018 basically. November 2018, and this is of list 3 of Dehradun region. DEHRADUN. So this name also you should give appropriate name. So if you see it is a TIFF file. Okay. And then run. So your data is now ready. This data is created. Okay. So now if you see it here, very different kind of color you are seeing over here. Some blue color, This is not the original this is not the standard FCC. I want to create one standard FCC where vegetation is displayed by red, because this vegetation have high reflectance for the red data set. So, but it is coming here the blue color. So we can change it also from here, properties, if you see it here. And in the properties, I have the symbology. We can change those band combination also, 3, 2, and the blue band, I want the first band here. If you see it here, apply. So this is your standard FCC color, which we were seeing as a preview also. This is the entire Dehradun region, somewhere the Mussoorie region. Now this is the data set which we want to publish over there. But our data is not saved in this format. It is saved in that blue format. So you have to be careful for that also. So how to do that one? Raster here, again you go to the miscellaneous. If I say here merge, then select it here. You just have to do change their sequence here. At the top you want 4, you want 2 at the bottom, like this. 4, 3 and 2. This way I want it. Select all these 3 bands and then run. Sorry, I will just do it again. Raster, miscellaneous, merge, and then I want the 3 bands over there. 4, 3, 2, 4, 3 and 2. Select these 3 bands over here. Okay, and then other option is there, unsigned integer 16-bit. Grab each input or place each input file into separate band. Select this also, and then again go to the save file. Here I will say list3 Dehradun November _ FCC, false color composite. This is the image which I want to do over there. So now you see your data is created in that format only, this particular space. Okay, we can create natural color composite also over here. Means green color by green and red by red and NIR by some other color. So that can also be done. You try your different kinds of combinations. So if you see it here, now my data set is ready. The data name is, if you see it here, I list3 Dehradun November FCC. Now this data I want to convert it to a service. How to convert this to a service now? Okay, that is again very again we will go to the Geoserver now. Okay, our Geoserver option is there. Now here, in order to create a service out of that data I have created now. Dehradun data is there. I can do certain sorts of analysis on top of it. I can create this this is a vegetation boundary, or I can have a city boundary. I can create a complete land use map out of it. Or if I have different kinds of different year data sets like 2008 data and 2018 data, I can create a change detection kind of map out of it. So a classified map you can create. You can extract n number of information from it. Suppose you want to know how much is the vegetation in this entire data set, quantify it. So how to do that one? That needs classification of that data set. Okay, you can do, there are many techniques which will classify this data set into a classified map, which can then tell you how much is the urban area, how much is the water bodies there, and how much is your vegetation in this image. That can be extracted and that can be utilized for various purpose, for various decision making that can be utilized. But suppose you want to say what is the total length of these canals over here, or what is the total area which is underwater, how much water is available in this particular, say, ponds, suppose that area, surface area of all those ponds, water bodies. So those all can be extracted from here. So that is our secondary actually, but first we will try to convert this data set into a web so that it can be accessed from your clients also. They can also see it. Right now only this QGIS software is seeing it, but others also want to see it. How to do that one? So if you see it here, converting a data to a web service now. If you see here, we have various options in the data here. Layer preview, workspace, store, layer group, and styles. Style is also very important here. So we can take workspace. Workspace is nothing but a folder. This is your working folder, the current working directory. So I will create one new folder for me. We will give the name to it, WebGIS. So you can give it here, or any namespace you can give it here, whatever of your interest. We will say WebGIS anything dot IIRS.gov.in. This is only for the metadata purpose. Okay, so this name I am giving to it, and then you can save it here. Okay, so if you see it here, this is your folder now. So what you will do now, you will create all your web services of the data services inside this WebGIS folder only, or this WebGIS workspace. Okay, so folder is created. Now let us take another second option is here, stores. You click on the stores over here. Now you want to create a new store, you have to create. Store means the data which will keep the data set. Store can be vector data, it can be raster data, it can be a data from a database management system as well. Okay, so I will create one new store, add new store. Now if you see it here, many options are available to me. CSV file can be one of your data store. Directory of special files, save files, full directory. This can also be one of the data set or the store. It can be geo package, post GIS, properties, save files, web feature. These are all vector sources. There are many other also. These can be added through extensions. Raster data source, we have our grid, geo package, geotiff. So our data set was a TIFF file. So this is our geo package, our store. So click it here. So we have selected geotiff as the store now. Now you go to your workspace. What is the workspace? WebGIS. You can give some name to it here. Okay. You can say list 3. Give some proper name to it. Okay. And DDN Dehradun. Short name I am giving here. List 3. I will call it as list 3 DDN. And date also I can type it here. November 2018. Some appropriate name you have to give it here. You have to write some description also. This is a sample LISS list 3 is one sensor. Okay, list 3 SATE satellite data. This list 3 satellite data is from the Indian spacecrafts or the Indian space satellites. In list 3 satellite DATA, list 3 satellite data, and then we can connection parameters. This was a description. Now where is the connection parameter? So you have to take those files from there now. That physical file need to be defined to this place here. From if you see it here, browse is option here, connection properties, and click on this browse, and then let us go to our folder here. Which was our folder? D drive, and then I had created one KP here when data folder was there. So if you see it here, Dehradun list 3 FCC, just 7.6 MB file. Just select it. So your link is also created over here. Okay, if you click save, it is simple now here. If you see it here, it has taken that store. Now you need to publish it. Click on publish over here. So your data will become as a service now. If you see it here, store name, native name, you can give it like this. You can change it also over here. Enabled title you give. You can give an abstract also over here. This all are the metadata set actually. This is a sample. This is a sample, and see we can the sample SAT satellite data. Satellite data. Okay. Then some abstract you can write it over here. Then if you go beyond down, if you go here, you can send some keyword also over here. Let us put here list 3. You should do it actually because these are required, because once your data becomes as a service, it should be searchable. So these are the keywords through which it becomes searchable. So you should give these kinds of keywords also to it. Now if you see the coordinate reference system, by default it has taken EPSG 4326 because our data set projection system was this only. If it does not have, then you have to assign some projection system also to the data set. Bounding box, compute from the data. You can click on this. If these are the blank, then it will compute it from the data set. And then compute from native bound. So if you see it here, the bounding box also it has taken. Now what you can do at the bottom, you can save it here like this. So your data is now ready as a service. But how to see it? If you see it here, layer preview. Now if you go here, you can search it here, WebGIS. WebGIS was our folder. Okay, this is the layer name. Now I want to see it as a KML file. I can see it as an open layer also. If you see it open layer, the data will be visible to you like this. The data set is now available as a URL. If you see it here, this is your URL here. This is the complete URL for your web service. In the first class also we have seen it. It has a service URL also. Up to this WMS, it is your service URL. If you see it here, service equal to WMS and request is our get map. This is the URL it has created. Let us copy it here, Control A, Control C. I will open it in your notepad option over here. Notepad. Let us try to understand what is this URL it has created. Now, if you see it here, localhost 8080, Geoserver, WebGIS, WMS, up to here, it is your service URL. Okay. Now, if you see it here, service equal to WMS, these all are the other parameters which you can define over here. Service is WMS, version is 1.1, request is, and all are separated by this ampersand. Okay, these parameters are separated by this ampersand. Why this percentage has come here? Because there was one space in your list 3. Earlier some name it has given, that's why that percentage has come over here. This is again ampersand here, this and sign here, again this and sign over here. So these are the different parameters which have gone through this along with this service URL. Okay, now let us say we will see it here, request equal to, we can change it here, get map. I don't want all those map because we have seen it earlier also. So what we can type it here, get capabilities, capabilities, capabilities we have checked it now. So let us try to click it here. So it will show the capability of your Geoserver now. It will show all the layers which are published in that Geoserver. Why it is showing so many? We have published only one layer because there were some sample data sets also. If you search it, Control F here, WebGIS, WebGIS, somewhere that is also there. If you see it here, this is your link here. Service equal to WMS. So it is showing it at this place. On link resource, it is a get method, it is a post method. So both the method it is available. So this get capabilities, it will show all the layers which are available in this particular Geoserver. So you can, but now let us try to get this data set in your QGIS also. We have a separate dedicated lecture for getting this data set as a web service through some applications like Leaflet or OpenLayer. But we will see this data set over in QGIS right now. We have seen it earlier also. Now Bhuvan and all services we have seen it here. Now I have my own data set also. Let us try to get it here. Layer, add WMS layer. Now I will take that data set. New. You have to create a new connection. What is that new connection here? If you can put it here, new connection will be as a local server, local SER. Yeah, some name you can give local server. Then here you have to give that URL which is created for this particular service here. Yeah, WMS. Up to this WMS you have to give, but it will not take this local host. Here you have to give the IP address. What was the IP address? We can just again check it here. IP address was 192.168.17.47. Just copy it from there and let us try to check it here. If it takes it, okay, and then connect. So it is showing this data set also over here. List 3. If you see it here, a sample data that draws raster for good image, opaque raster. So this was our data set, list 3. Add and then go. So now if you see here, this was your data set which is coming as a service to me here. You can zoom it here, you can see it here. So all those functionalities are available to it. Now your original data, this was your original data. It was coming like this, whereas your service is coming like this. Why? Because this QGIS software has done some enhancement while displaying it in the canvas. That's why they are very much highlighted. Whereas in WebGIS server or as a service, these are low. These are the raw values now. Okay, because the values are very low contrast. So what we can do? We can save this contrast value also, so that it becomes similar in your WebGS service also. So since we have only exported the raw data, that's why it is coming like this. If we can store this enhancement or this contrast enhancement also, it will come like this only in my service. So at that time, your enhanced data will be published as a service. Now, right now, only raw data has been published. So this is one small example of raster data publishing. Now let us take one more example of vector data processing. Suppose I have one save file. Okay, what can be the save file? Let us say I have the boundary map of Dehradun. Let us try to create it here. Vector, I will just create one new. Let us say layer, create layer. I can create new save file layer over here. Let us say boundary, BOUNDARY, boundary layer. Okay, then geometry type is your polygon. I can create EPSG, and then we can have some name also here, ID, and text it is there. Add to the field list. ID is there. ID is already there actually. So we can remove this ID. We can have here name, and then add here name. We can give to it some name. We can give to it. Okay. So now we are creating the boundary here. If you see it here, file name is CITY, city BND. Let us give it Dehradun city, DDN, or I can give it DDN underscore CITY city. Let us say something. Okay. Then we will create it. Okay. Now let us try to create it. How to create it? Right click. We can say toggle editing here, and then in toggle editing this will open here. Add polygon. This is the toolbar here. Click this toolbar. Now if I am able to see it properly, this is my boundary. Somewhere it is going from here. Dehradun boundary. Okay. City boundary. It is somewhere here, and it is coming to it like this here. Dehradun city boundary. So we can create it like this. Sample boundary I am only creating. So your boundary is now created. Okay, name ID I can give it one ID. Name I can give it to it Dehradun. Full name I can give to it. Okay, so your boundary is created. Now you right click here and toggle editing. So it will save it. Save the editing. Yes, save it. So your boundary is now saved. If you see it here, I can keep it as hollow also. Simple outline. Apply, and color also. Let us try to give it some green color or something yellow color. And okay, we can increase the width also from here. Let us say this thing, apply. Okay, so this is my boundary. Zoom to layer. Let us say zoom to layer. So this is your boundary. Now this boundary you want to publish in as a service. Raster data though we have already published. Now this data also we will try to publish. How to publish that one? Let us put the label also to it. We can say the properties here. Then labels. Label I want single label. We want the name. Apply. So if you see it here, this Dehradun is displayed over here. You can change the color also for it. Let us make it green color or yellow color. We can make it here. Okay, then we can increase the font size also over here. Let us say this thing, apply. So this is your Dehradun city and this is the boundary. Now this we want to publish as a service over there. How to do that one? You go to this again, Geoserver. Now once this data set is created, raster data set, that data we have already published. Now we will go to again to this store. In the store we can add new store. A new store. What is the new store now? It is a save file. Just click on save file. Our workspace will be WebGIS. Data source name we can give boundary, city boundary, city BOUNDARY, city boundary. And then here I can have description also. Sample city BOUNDAY, boundary of DEHRA Dehradun CI Dehradun city. Okay. Then if you see it here, there are certain parameters also, connection parameters. Again the same thing, which was there with the raster file. Browse here. Again you go to this file, your D drive. So there I was having one folder called data. Inside this data folder, it is there in the data folder or somewhere else. Let us check it here. File properties. So where we have stored this data set, basically we will just check it here. Again in the data folder. Okay, it has gone somewhere else basically. So what I will do, I will save it to my data folder also. Export, we can save the feature as, it is going to be my save file, and path I have to give. Basically, I had forgotten to give the path. It has gone to the document folder. Okay, so Dehradun city underscore SHP, same name I will give. Let us give here, and the data folder. Then I can create a new folder by the name called vector. Okay, vector, and then here I can give ddn underscore city city dot save file, save. Okay, so your data set is now saved. We can give color to this also, the same thing. The thing we did for the other one, single label here. Then color also we were giving it here yellow. Okay, and increasing the size also 15. Apply, and then we can have it here some mask also to it. We can enable the mask if you see it here. Apply. Okay, so this way that Dehradun will come to you over here, properties, and then I can change the symbology also here. We don't want to the fill here. We want only the simple outline, apply. Okay, so that color also we can change it here. Color also we will make it yellow color only. This is your yellow color. Okay, apply. Okay, so this is the color, and this is the city boundary we have gone. Now this we want to publish there. How to do that one? If you go, you just refresh the page. Earlier that file was not there. Reload. Now I will again go to this place here, browse. Again, let us go to this D drive. Then I had one folder called data folder. Now vector, this is your city.ddn city.shp. Select it. This is done. Now you can say save. So your layer will come over here. It has taken that as a store. Now you need to publish it also. You click on publish, and then you have to give certain names to it. DDN underscore city, title is there. This is some abstract you can write. This is a city boundary of Dehradun, Dehradun. Okay, something I have given to it. Then there are keywords you can give here. One I will give here. City boundary, BOUNDARY boundary, city boundary we can give, or we can have some more also. We can give it here, add keyword. I will say another keyword to it here. That the keyword is, let us say DEHRADUN, Dehradun. This also keyword is added now. Okay, this is two are there now. Features, DDN city and Dehradun. So these are some of the keywords. Go back, metadata link, already it has created, WMS capabilities 1.1.1, then data link. Then this is the coordinate reference system, EPSG 4326. Since I had given the same projection system, it has taken the same one. Now here if you see it here, bounding box is not the compute from data. So it will compute it from this data set, or let long of the bounding box, compute from the native bound. It will compute those bounding box for them also. Then we will do save. Your data is now saved. Now let us say layer preview. Again, let us go to WebGIS here. Okay. If you see it here, now I have two data sets. First was the satellite data. Other one is the Dehradun city. So now once this, we can just click on this open layer over here. So it will be visible to you here. Now you see here, I am not able to see the thing which I had created in your QGIS environment. Okay, so this yellow color, but here in this I am seeing only one black boundary and some gray color inside it. Okay, so what I will do, we have to give some style to it. The same thing has not come. Why it has come? Because the same thing happened with the raw data also. Like list 3 data set we had published, so some raw data, some non-enhanced values we were able to get it. These are also the raw boundaries only, raw coordinates only. These raw coordinates have been displayed by this Geoserver. You need to give some symbology to it. So if you see it here in the QGIS also, if I add it, let us try to add it. Layer, add layer, add WMS layer, then I will say connect. So it will show me Dehradun city also, another layer. First was list 3 Dehradun raster data, Now this boundary also, if you see it here, add, close, you see the same thing has happened to your boundary also. We don't want this one. There is no name also, nothing has come to it. Only one boundary, and I cannot do anything out of it. Properties, I cannot change the symbology also for it. Okay, this symbology you have to define in your Geoserver itself. If it is a WMS, if it is WMS, then that is fine. So let us try to learn something about symbology also. It is very also simple. Now you take it the symbology from here, Dehradun city. This was your boundary. Okay. Now what we will do, we will right click here, properties. If you see here in the QGIS itself, I have the option, I can increase the font size also. Let me increase. Simple line. The font, the color is this only, solid line, stroke width. Let us try to increase it a little bit. Apply. If you see it here, it has increased the width of that boundary also. Now, if you see it here in the level, layer rendering style, then you can say save style. So in QGIS or our Geoserver, we have a typical format called SLD, style layer descriptor. You just select the second one as SLD file and select your folder also. And let us go to the data folder there, which we have created. Data, it was the data folder somewhere here only. PP here, data. Let us take vector. Here inside we can create one more folder called SLD. Now here I will say boundary, BOUNDARY. So this will create the symbology for me. Okay, save it and okay. So what it has done, if you see here in this data folder, it has created one XML file for me. Although the extension is SLD, but it is nothing but an XML file which you can open in any web browser or in any notepad kind of thing also. Okay, so now this need to be uploaded to your Geoserver so that you can see the symbology also. So how to do that one? That is also very simple here. If you see here, I had workspace, stores, layers. Similarly, I have styles also. Just click on the style and add new style. There are already some styles. We will have a new style now. Let us give some name to it. Okay, DDN underscore BND. We can have generic name also, but I have given it DDN underscore BND. And folder also I am selecting WebGIS. You create inside this one, SLD. And then we can upload the file. Select it, choose the file, upload here. It is taking time somewhere over here, upload. It is not taking it here. So what you can do, some temporary issue may be there. So what I can do, I can go to this place, right click, open with, let us try to open it in Notepad. So this is your file here, Control A, Control C, just copy it and you can directly paste it here also. Okay. So once it is pasted here, if you see all the properties, font size 21 and anchor point and then name also, that color we were seeing, that name of the city, Dehradun city it has taken, validate and then you can save it. This style is now saved. Okay, it is validated, now save it. So your style is now saved. Now you want to apply this style to your layer. How to do that one? You go to those layers. Okay, in the layers, I will just check WebGIS folder we have created. So DDN city, this was your layer. Click on this city boundary. So if you see it here, it is already saved. Sorry, this layer name I have to create. Click here, WebGIS. Layer, I will go to this layer option here. Then let us go to WebGIS here. This is the Dehradun city. Click it here in that layer. Then you can see one option is there, publishing. Click on this publishing over here. Okay, once you click on this publishing, then you just don't do anything. Just go at the bottom. So here you have queryable, all options are there. This polygon, I don't want this polygon. I want DDN. We have created one style for us, no? So what was the style here? It is saved also, no? I think we will just check it here. We will check that name of that file here. Restricted, it has come up here or not? We have saved it or not? Okay, now let us check it here. Available styles. WebGIS, DDN, BND, at the bottom it has come. Okay, select it and then you can save it. Now you see what happens to your QGIS layer over here. This was your original layer. Then we can say it here, zoom to layer, or we can remove it from here, then we can add it again, or you can check it there also. Here also, if I see it here, layer preview, if you see it here, WebGIS, and then this was your open layer. Now still it has not taken it. I think it is not saved. We'll do it here, Control F. Let us try to do it again here. Layers, WebGIS here, Dehradun city. Let us go to the bottom here, publishing. Okay, apply we have not selected. Publishing, and then bottom here, we have to select the layer at the bottom. It is there actually. It is not visible to me here. Okay, but I will go to the bottom over here like this. Okay, now it is visible here. WebGIS. Okay, if you see it here, some color is also visible to you. Then apply, you have to click here and then save. Now if you see here in the open layer, so it will come as, just refresh the page. You see it here, your layer has become one colorful here, and Dehradun also is there. Same way, let us try to check in the QGIS also. Dehradun city here, let us say zoom to layer, and we will try to add it again. Remove layer, yes, and then I will say layer, add WMS layer. Now if you see it here, Dehradun city is there. You can say add and then close. So you have got your layer with the style also now. Okay, so this is the way of creating one WMS for raster as well as vector data set along with the style, and how to display it in the QGIS. That also we have seen it. Now I will stop here. Okay, tomorrow we will see that now once these layers have been created, then we want to access it through some web applications. I want to create my website. In that website, now I want to use this layer. If you see it here, we have seen the properties also here. So the same way, though, you can get it like there also. So if I keep it here, if you see here, WMS, this was the capability I want to check here. So I can just delete all those things over here. I only want the get capability option. Okay, get capabilities, get CAPABILITIES, get capabilities, request, and you click it here. Now I say Control F5, WebGIS. Now if you see it here, it will show these two layers are your simple WebGIS Geoserver, and then we can say this is again your another one, DDN BND. Okay, and this is your list 3 data sets also. Both the data sets are available inside this particular place. List 3 data set and DDN list. DDN underscore city or BND basically. So that we have seen it now, how to convert. Now what we have, now our objective is once this data set has been created to a link or to the URL or to a web service, now we want to access it to my web application. So for that we require a separate library called open layer, or it can be a leaflet. On these libraries allows you to create your web page, and then you can call these libraries in your web page and access any kind of geospatial web services as well. Like you have one web page, you import open layer library over there. Now this open layer library have the methods which allows you to call these Geoserver or any other web service from the spatial domain. Like Bhuvan web service I want, or I want this Geoserver web service, both can be brought up together. So tomorrow we will learn about open layer. Day after tomorrow we will have another lecture for leaflet, and then at the end we will be combining all these things together, and we will try to develop one small web application where we can get our website also and our map layer also. So that's it. Thank you very much. We will wait for 5 minutes, and then I will take up some few questions also. Thank you.